All right, everyone, welcome back to the Man Cave. I am your host, Luther Harris. Tonight, co-hosting with my brother Michael McGrail. And tonight we have an awesome guest, a guest who we've connected just over a shared heart. Jon Lester is here tonight with us to share his heart for his family, his heart for people around him, and his heart for Plexus. He has been in the company. I'm gonna let him tell you all of that stuff, but he hasn't been in the company that long, y'all, and he is on fire for helping people live a happier, healthier life so that they can be more present with their family, more present with their friends, and just all around better people. So before we jump into that, let me tell you a little bit about Plexus and about what we do. Plexus is a gut health company founded in 2008. We are founded in gut health and experts in the gut microbiome. If you want to know more about gut health, just Google gut health and the benefits of addressing your gut health, and you can find a laundry list of stuff. But let me tell you this, there's going to be a lot of things out there, none as great as what we have to offer. I'm just letting you know up front. Nothing is as good as what we have to offer because before gut health was cool, we were gut healthing. Okay. Before gut health was a thing, before doctors were talking about gut health, when gut health was voodoo, right? We were out here doing the science, we were doing the research, we were doing everything necessary to know and understand and be on the front edge of this research. So we've been around the game since, like I said, 2008. This company, so 16 years of focusing on the gut health and helping people live a happier, healthier life. We do that through gut health supplementation. The person who invited you here tonight can let you know more about that. But let me tell you something. They are sharing something that is transformative for you. They are sharing something and they're sharing it because they care about you. They're not sharing it to get a sale or they're not sharing it for any other reason other than they know that you have a need and they are looking to fulfill it, right? And we believe in what these products have to offer. I'm gonna let my brother Michael tell you a little bit about his story, and we're gonna jump over to Jon. But let me tell you something, y'all. These products have absolutely changed my life. They've changed my wife's life. They've changed my kids' lives. And they continue to change the lives of people all around myself and in our circle and even outside of our circle now that we have people that are also helping people share health and happiness with other people. And so, with that, I'm going to pass it over to Michael, and he's just going to tell you just a quick brief of his story and why he loves Plexus so much.
Hey, good evening, gents. I am Mike McGrail. Don't know if you can tell. I've been enjoying the outdoors. That's kind of the life that I grew up in. I grew up in a little town in Pennsylvania, and Plexus found me 8.5 years ago. I didn't know what I was getting into, and I've shared this story so many times, but every time I try and throw in something a little bit different because, truthfully, to summarize 8.5 years in 2 minutes, how do you do that? But really, this week we're on vacation, and next week we're on vacation. And growing up, I had a mom that always told me I was growing up too fast. I was getting into all the things. I was a Boy Scout, I was in Civil Air Patrol doing search and rescue. I loved rock climbing, rappelling, mountain biking. I mean, the things that I got into, the fact that I made it to like 15, 16 years old, right? Like, I think there are a couple of us out there that maybe we got into some stuff. And the one thing that my mom was always telling me is that you're growing up too fast. Just slow down. And so, Plexus found me when I was 35 years old. The conversation I had, I was probably on the couch. I can almost remember being stretched out on the couch, having a conversation with the guy that called me up and said, "Hey man, you got to check this out." And it was the couch that I took a nap on every single day. You walk in the front door, in the entryway. We were living in Quantico, Virginia. Some of you have probably heard of it. I was doing work for the government as a Marine. Um, and it was some important work. It's work that I'm proud of the accomplishments that we were able to pull off as a team. And, every day I'd get home and I'd walk the couple feet in the house. I'd give the kids a hug and I would go right to that couch and I'd take a nap. And that's what I thought was normal. The doctors diagnosed me with something some of you have probably heard, getting old. In the military, it's something that we heard a whole lot more often. And truthfully, at 35, it wasn't a diagnosis that I was ready for. So the timing could not have been better. I started taking Plexus, and in 3 days, I I didn't go to that couch for a nap. And that was so profound for me. I noticed it right away. And that was the last time I took a nap after work for years. I had 5 more years in my career. Um, and that was huge. I left my coffee at home a couple weeks later, and I was really irritated about it because I didn't realize I left my coffee at home. And I was looking for my coffee mug when I would have been about halfway through the pot of coffee by that point in time in the day. And I couldn't figure out like what was going on. We don't have caffeine in Slim. And it just didn't make sense to me. So I had to dig and I had to dig more and more. And so, as I'm sitting here and I'm on vacation, my wife, my kids are in the living room just right around. Her sister and husband are in who just joined us this week. I'm so excited for them. You guys, my mom knew when she told me she couldn't slow me down. She knew that little boys weren't going to slow down, and grown men are not going to slow down. If you guys, I don't know how many of you out there have kids. I know Ian, I just saw, you got a real little one, like 4. God bless you. Yeah, like, guys, they're not going to wait for us. I started Plexus about a month and a half after my mom passed away. My mom was 79 years old, and truthfully, the gift that she gave me on her the night of her passing, it was my 35th birthday, and she brought my entire family together, my 5 sisters, my dad, my mom, by her bedside. To be able to be there with her was incredible. But when I got my energy back and I started learning about what was going on, I started paying attention. I realized that mom knew, having raised 5 girls before me, she wasn't going to slow the time down. And her saying slow down was her recognition of that. So, man, like my call to you, these supplements, and I know if you can hear the background noise, like we got all the family here. It's a good thing right now. But truthfully, like these kids aren't going to wait for us. 14 years old, my kid is 3 inches taller than I am. His shoes are bigger than me. I'm working the business just so I can afford the lacrosse and the food, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Right? That's what we want to do. We want to provide. We want to love our families. We want to be able to be present. To be able to take 2 weeks and just say, hey, I'm going to be working from my phone this week. Give me a call. I'm going to ease up just a little bit, but I'll be able to make up for it on the front and back end. Not having to get that approval, it's been phenomenal. I don't know exactly what day I'm getting home when I get home next week, and truthfully, I don't care. Um, this company has given me so much. It's given me my health. The fact that I'm a totally disabled veteran with half of my joints being shot, and I was able to take my family to Busch Gardens today and walk for 4 miles and ride the rides and do the things. That's what we're all about. So, guys, I could go into my story. I could take the entire night, but truthfully, I think Jon has a story that's more impressive, and he's writing it right now, and I cannot wait to hear everything he has to say. So I'm going to go ahead and pass that over. I'm glad you guys are here. This is an investment in yourself, and your family is going to appreciate it every step of the way.
Awesome, y'all. Well, without further ado, we're gonna bring on Jon. Jon, first of all, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I kind of called him out last week. I didn't say his name, but he knew exactly who I was talking about. But Jon is a new brand ambassador with the company. He's already senior silver. He's already helped so many people find health and happiness, right? But the thing that I love about Jon is he has a passion specifically for men to lead their families in from a health, from a faith, from every standpoint possible. And so Jon, welcome on, man. Thank you so much for being here. I know this is a bit of a sacrifice for you because your nights are sacred. So thank you so much for being here, man.
Thank you, Luther, man. Can you guys hear me all right? All right, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, it was kind of funny last week when you were wrapping up that call and mentioned you were gonna have somebody new on there, and I just like looked at you on the screen. I was like, oh, I know where this is going. But it was good. It was good. No, but thank you for that introduction, Michael. Man, I'm not sure I can top that story. That story is pretty phenomenal. But I will definitely do my best to just share a little bit about why I'm even here. Because honestly, 6 months ago, never thought this would have been a possibility. I'll be honest. 6 months ago, Not even close. 6 months ago, I was in the middle of my school year. I am a health and physical education teacher by trade at a high school level. I've been doing it for, I don't know, 12 years now. And it's great. It's a great gig, right? You know, you get summers off. The main three reasons why people teach: June, July, and August, right there, right? So that's why I do what I do. But so 6 months ago, I was wrapping up my 12th year, and I actually picked up working teaching an extra class. So I'm a health and phys ed teacher, and I decided to pick up teaching Algebra 2 for a little extra income. Talk about stepping out of your comfort zone right there. I have not done Algebra 2 since I was 16, and I'm 34. So I was basically learning right alongside the kids. But honestly, it was a little extra income. And at the time, our family could use it. So I'm like, I'm going to sacrifice it a little bit. We're going to learn on the go. I'm going to give up that free time I have on the day. We're going to get it done. That was 6 months ago. Also, about this time, 6 months ago, one of the guys on this call, Ian and I have been real good dear brothers for about 3 years. It was pretty funny. We connected through an online digital ministry, and there's actually a group of us. There's like 5 or 6 of us that have been pacing life every single day for the last 3+ years. And we live all across the country. There's someone in Florida. I'm in Vermont. We have somebody in Nevada. We have one in Ohio and one in Tennessee. Never in our wildest dreams would any of us have connected on a regular platform. But like I said, kind of faith brought us together. And 3+ years later, we are tighter than anybody. So getting back to my story, about 6 months ago, Andrew, the one from Tennessee, had been in Plexus for a while. He and his bride had been doing Plexus for a little bit, and they were kind of just sharing their stories. And, we're just kind of living vicariously through it. And Ian gets on board. And I'm just like living vicariously through what's going on. But I'm just hearing the stories, and I'm hearing about what they're doing and what these products are doing for not only them, but their families and for others. And I'm like, okay, I'm a health teacher. I got to go dig into these things because honestly, I'm not a big fan of supplements. Health teacher, I'm just like, eat your fruits, eat your veggies, go exercise, get some sleep. You'll be fine. You don't need to put all the extra stuff in your body. But I did some digging, and I did some more digging. And I was like, all right, power of positive peer pressure. Andrew and Ian didn't pressure me into Plexus, but it was time to try Plexus. Let's just put it that way. Because they kept going, well, if you want to try it, you could try it. And I was like, all right. Finally, I broke down. I'm like, I'm going to try this. So we get me the triplex about 4 months ago. And at first I was like, I don't really need weight loss. That's just not me. I'm just looking more for like a maintenance type thing. Like, what do I do? They're like, well, just try it. Just try it. And I'll be honest, within the first couple of weeks, it felt like my body went through an oil change. Like it felt like you took your car in, get those filters cleaned out, blow them out, replace the oil, and you go. I am an avid runner. I love running. I love being outside. I love being active, whatever it is. My times all of a sudden started improving. And I'm someone who runs pretty much the same route every single day. Some people were taking notice and they're like, what's going on? I'm like, I honestly don't know. I am so routine oriented. The only thing that changed was Plexus. So I'm like, started to share my story. I'm like, you know what? I think there's something to this right here. I am believing pretty quick. And the more and it's just kind of gone from there. I started seeing these changes and I'm like, I need to start telling other people because my energy level's up. My fatigue and recovery is getting a lot easier. And I'm like, this is great. We got to share this. So that's what kind of got me into Plexus. But that's not the end of the story. So then I started talking to the guys about the business side, right? Because at first I'm like, I'm just going to take these. These are good. These are good supplements. My body's getting really healthy. But they're like, yeah, don't you know you can actually like bless others with it? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm a teacher, an educator. I'm not a marketer. I'm not a network marketer. I'm not a salesman. To me, the first thing that came to mind is the things that Sean was talking about earlier, pyramid scheme. That's not what I am. I don't go out there and just be like that used car salesman guy. That's not me. And they're like, no, that's not what we do. And I got to listen to Andrew's wife, Allie's story and some of the things that she does. And they started introducing me to some of the people in their upline, people like Luther, people like Michael, people like Alita and Cheryl. And I started hearing their stories. And I'm like, wow, these are powerful. The way that they can go out and they can help bless others with this business. So I'm like, let's give this a shot. Let's give it a shot. So with the help of everybody, we started giving it a shot. And for me, like Luther said, my heart is men. It really is. I am somebody who grew up in a house without a dad present. I am somebody who grew up with a single mom, and bless her heart, she did the best that she could. My dad walked out on the family when I was 5, you know. So I never had that role model of someone in the house teaching me what it is to be a man, or, you know, teaching you all those things that dads are supposed to do. So one of the goals I made when I was 12 years old, my mother will attest to this. 2 things in life I never wanted to do. 1, I never wanted to get divorced. 2, I always want to be in my kid's life. I always want to be there, and I always want to be present. I made this statement when I was 12, which is like, you're not supposed to be thinking about those things at 12. I should be thinking about who's the cute girl walking by, or what's that car looking like. You know, I shouldn't be thinking about these other things. But as I've grown up, and now that I have my own 2 kids, there's no way I would never be present for them. No way. But I look around and I see we live in a society where men aren't present. They're not. You know, it's just, let's just face the facts. The majority of youth nowadays don't have a regular father figure in the picture. And it breaks my heart. And honestly, a lot of the big reasons that come up are they're too invested in their job, they're overloaded, you know, they're just not, they might be physically present, but they're not emotionally present. And, you know, for me, it's come down to what can we do to help men be more present with their families, more present with their kids, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it is, because we need to do something. So I started connecting it with Plexus a little bit. And Ian and I have had this conversation, Andrew, a bunch. Like, we have an opportunity to give men margin in their lives so that they can be present, so that they can be that provider, so that they can do the things that they want to do on the timetable they want to do. Like Michael's doing right now. He's on vacation. He
Did we lose him?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's see if we can give him a second to come back because it was so good. I was over here tearing up. I ain't gonna lie.
He's on fire, but that Vermont internet isn't working with him tonight.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the thing I love about John's story, like he's an educator.
Yeah.
And we all have, like, we've got a responsibility as men to figure it out. I know we'll say that. And Nina, I love that you're on here. Thank you so much because I know you're sharing with so many men. And I love what you are doing for our community. But like men, that's our thing. We'll figure it out. I don't know how we're gonna do it, whether it's paying for that thing, whether it's fixing the car, doing all the things, going to bed late, getting up early. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
When you have a tool to give men that thing back, and John's back on, but like
Oh yeah,
not only
love
is
technology.
he doing that for the men, but to be an educator, to be an educator, period. I don't want
Yeah.
to say as a man, as a woman, to be an educator and to have just that opportunity to influence the next generation. John, I'm going to give it back to you. I'm glad to see you back on.
Yeah.
But I think it's absolutely phenomenal because as a health educator, now you're stepping outside the box and you're making a difference.
And let me tell you something, as a former educator, right, John, I don't even know if we talked about this. Like, I was in education. I did 7.5 years in education. There's nothing worse than finding yourself going all day and giving everything to everybody else's kids and not having anything to give your own. Nothing
That's
worse.
true. That's true.
Nothing worse. And man, if I had like I wish I could have some like I could have Plexus when I was teaching. Cause there was time that my wife missed out on me and I missed out on her because we'd come home and crash. She had to come home and take an hour and a half nap. I'll come home beat down and I was physically tired, but I was mentally and emotionally drained. Because you, as a teacher, you take that stuff home with you. I don't care what nobody tells you, but you're seeing kids go through stuff, and you take this stuff home with you. And as somebody with
Mhm.
a heart like John's, right? Someone who is a man of faith, like me, who's a man of faith, Ian, man of faith, Michael, man of faith, right? Like all of these guys on here, man of faith. Like when somebody lays that on you, you don't just let it go, right? We carry those burdens with people. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, this has given us more margin to be present, like you said, not just physically, but emotionally. And that's huge, man. That's huge. Anyway,
Mhm.
I'm gonna give the floor back to
And I'm not sure what you heard at the last bit before technology decided to boot me.
you. Yeah.
So I'm not sure where I left off, but I'll go off on that right there, which is, for 4 years when I was when my wife had our first child, our son, she was working at the time, but she became a stay-at-home mom. And that put a huge stress on my plate because, we had to make ends meet. So what did I do is I signed up to be the athletic director at our high school as well. So here I am teaching all day long, and then I'm being the athletic director in the evening, which means I'm not getting home till 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, 3 to 4 nights a week. And it's not like I'm teaching right down the road. I'm half hour away. So for 4 years, we didn't really see each other much. We talk about not being there emotionally because of all the stuff we bring home with us. That was really, really difficult. And I think those are kind of the things that a lot of men get into, because they're so vested in trying to provide, which is great. We want to provide. We want to be that stability for our families. We want to allow our brides to be able to be home with the kids and be that stay-at-home mom, take the pressure off of them. But on the flip side, what's it costing our kids? It's costing them time with us. It's costing them our presence. So, man, I wish during that time in my life I would have had Plexus because I wouldn't have had to sacrifice all those evenings, all those little things that I didn't necessarily get to see because I wasn't home. I wasn't there. I get videos or I get pictures, but it's not the same. It's really not.
Mhm.
And, ever since Plexus now, it's only been 4 months. I'm only here, I haven't been here that long. But even just a little bit of margin that is provided has given me a better health, you know, just from taking this stuff and from getting a few people on board. I'm glad that Sam and Josh are on this call tonight. These are guys that have already, these are guys that have trusted me to show them what this business is like and this opportunity can be. That little bit of margin is making it so that the financial strain is not so big. It's allowing me to coach my kids, which I don't know if any of you do any youth coaching. There's no money in that. That is just time sacrifice. This past spring, I coached not one, not two, but 3 baseball teams, which was way too many. First time in my life, I think the plate was
You're a
too
crazy
full.
person. That's the only explanation. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. Well, one was T-ball, but the other ones for sure. But I mean, if Plexus can give us the opportunity to do those kind of things with our kids and our families, I mean, this past weekend we got a chance to go to Boston and take my son to his first Red Sox game. I'm not saying we couldn't have done that without Plexus, but it made it a little bit easier. It did. I won't lie. It made it a little bit easier. Um, so, but going back to my heart for the whole thing. So why Plexus? It's really, I want other dads to be more present. I want other dads and other husbands and fathers to find that margin, to find that freedom, whether it's time freedom, financial freedom, all of it, to be able to pour into their families. And also, like Michael was talking about, the next generation too. I'm having really great conversations with kids all the time in high school now because they're seeing the stuff that I'm posted and they're like, okay, you're in a pyramid scheme. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, think outside the box for just a minute. Get out of your closed mind. I mean, these kids are 15, 16, so we like to jab each other anyway. But I'm like, hey, think about it for a second. I'm like, what are these products doing? You're downing ghosts left and right and these rangs and these bangs and all these other energy drinks. I'm like, come on now. I dare you to try one of these. I actually gave a couple of them a slim one day and they came back the next day. They're like, that's pretty good. I said, right, right. And now guess what? We got sweet tea full time. Mm-hmm. That's right. We can get you hooked right up. And it's cheaper than that stuff you're buying in the store with a lot better stuff in it. So it's good. It's great. So that's kind of my story, Luther. I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Man, thank you. Thank you again for I was telling everybody as technology was doing what technology does. I was sitting over here tearing up because I remember standing on the band field one cold, wet Friday night. Kids don't want to be out there. I don't want to be out there. My partner in crime didn't want to be out there. Nobody wanted to be out there. My feet are wet. It's like 45 degrees, like it's just wet and cold and miserable. And I'm thinking to myself, my wife's at home, my daughter's at home, and I won't get to see her go to sleep. I won't get to be there to put her down. Right? Like they're at
Mm-hmm.
home in the warmth, in the heat. They're chilling, and I'm just out here in the cold. Like all I wanted to be was home.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I was like that. I remember that being a defining moment. Like I was literally standing there. I can see where I was. I was standing there with my arms folded, and I was like, "This is not it. This is not it. There has to be another way." And what you said about men, like we want men to be more present, right? But society has told all of us that the only thing a man is good for is to go out and provide, work and provide. And so we do everything we can do to go out and work and provide so that we can be the man that society has called us to be. What if we decided to be the man that our families need us to be? Right? Forget what society says about us. Forget what society defines as, whatever. And honestly, their definition changes every day anyway, right? But I know what my Bible tells me a man is supposed to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know who I'm called to be as a leader in my home. I know who I'm called to be as an example in my home. And how can I be the example of a man that my son needs me to be if I'm not here? How can I be a godly fatherly example if I'm not emotionally present? Right? Like, y'all, we serve a God that loves us so much that he gave his son for us. So if you don't think that's an emotional sacrifice, like that's something's wrong with you. We serve a father who is emotionally present for us, right? And so how can we honestly say we are the dad we need us to be if we aren't showing up emotionally for our families, if we aren't like we're supporting them with money, but like money don't buy anything but stuff. That's it, right? My buddy said it. We had breakfast this morning. My buddy was like, he said, it's just a tool. It's just a tool. That's all it is. Money's a tool, right? You know, it's not that hug that you give your kid when they're struggling, right? The ability to be there and be present with them when they're struggling through school, the ability when they're frustrated with that math problem, or they're frustrated with whatever they're having, there's turmoil in their friend group. You know what they need in that moment. They need dad to be there to walk them through it. Right? Like that's what our kids need, man. Like people say, oh man, society is going downhill. You know why society's going downhill? Because the overwhelming majority of men are no longer present in the home. That's why society going downhill. I'm gonna put it on us. The overwhelming majority of men are not present at home. Oh, I didn't raise my kid that way. Well, you didn't raise him at all because you weren't there. I don't want my kids to say that about me. I love my dad dearly, but he worked 16 hours a day and came home and crashed. He was there. He was there. There's a lot of times he wasn't, right? He did everything, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, man. Like if that's your only option, that's your only option. But we're here to tell you, bro, there's another option. You got options. Having margin and time, like you got options. And we have a great option here. An option not only where you can provide margin for your life, but an option where you can help others do the same. And so, Jon, thank you so much for sharing your heart, sharing your story, bro. Like that hits home for sure. And I hope that this message goes out, man. And I hope people hear it. And I hope people's lives are changed and people's views, perspectives are changed, right? Like there's more than one way to do life. There's more and there's more out there than just going out and beating your head against the grind all day. There's more options than that. And so with that, man, I wish you guys a good night. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording. Thank y'all for joining us tonight, and we'll see y'all on the next one.